Hey guys, Jack Spirko here with another edition of the Duck Chronicles. As you can see, our little limpy girl is once again in the duck hospital. This time we have 4 different of her friends, and that way we don't have to, incarcerate the same ducks for a full week or while we give her some rehab time. And at the same time, she doesn't have to be alone. She seems to be doing better, but she is still limping. It was still noticeable, so we went ahead and sequestered her away from the rest of the babies. And but they'll do okay. I think she'll be just fine. The other babies are out and about. They're hanging out over here today, top side of my little orchard, and enjoying a good day. Cold weather's coming. We're going to have temperatures stay below freezing for a full day. I think on Monday we're probably going to get some rain and ice and snow. That'll be the coldest stuff they had to deal with, but I think they'll be okay. We'll give them some extra shelter if we need to. One of y'all asked about when they're going to start getting feathers. I think it's hard to tell, but they're already doing that. As you notice, they've gotten whiter and whiter as we've gone. One viewer remarked it almost seems like they turned white overnight, and that's a little bit of feather starting to come in, and a little bit more of the fluff starting to go away. But they still have an awful lot of fluff on them. But they're doing well considering they're about 28 days old today. And they're weighing in at about 1.7, 1.8 pounds based on checking them out yesterday. I have a little thing I thought we'd do together. I thought maybe we could name the Muscovy drakes, the 2 other Muscovy drakes together. And this I'm going to say his is in the command pecking order. This is the number 3 guy. This is the newest drake that came in with the Muscovies we just got. And he and the number 2 drake determined that by having a pretty good Muscovy duck drake battle. And if you've ever seen them do it, they kind of lock onto each other's wings with their beak and they kind of beat each other. And they did that for a good day. And he kind of took his position as a subservient, and now they get along just fine. And if you see, he's pretty dark colored, a little bit of mottled on his neck. I don't know what to name him. But they are pretty easy to determine, apart from each other. So that'd be cool to name the drakes. So I'm taking name suggestions for him, and I guess this would be the executive officer here, number 2 in command. And you can see he's a little bit different. He's pretty much all solid colored, his whole body except for his head. And he's a cool drake. These name suggestions for him. And this guy here. He was already named by a viewer who said I named him, but I was just making a comment. I said he would reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger when I picked him up because he was so daggone strong. So he's now Arnold. So we've got Arnold as the head drake. You guys named the other 2 drakes for me. Another question I had from people is with the eggs we're selling, are they fertile eggs? And with them being fertile, does that create any problems? And the answer is they are fertile because we do have drakes. And the answer is no, that doesn't create any problems at all. If you're eating a fertile egg that hasn't been incubated at all, you'd never know the difference. There's nothing that you would see or in any way know is any different than any other egg you would eat. Now, if they've been sat on for a while or what have you, well, then things might be a little bit different. I want to answer some questions I've been getting today. On weekends, it's kind of what I do. So somebody asked, what about clay soils? Can you do what you're doing in clay soils? Guys, I wish I had clay soils. I'd have ponds all over the place. Pretty much polyculture plantings and good fertility and compost and, getting the animals into the system and managing them properly, that'll fix everything, especially if all you're dealing with is clay soil. Somebody said, well, they have black gumbo. My property in Arlington, I had black gumbo, is what they call it on it. And boy, everything I planted grew really, really great. As long as the soil's deep and those roots, especially with trees, can get down there, no problem at all. Somebody asked about, have you considered goji berries? We got goji berry right there, goji berry cam, coming out of dormancy. I've got them all over the place. I make cuttings from them. They're real easy to do. And for those of you like me that are in places with alkaline soils, gojis are great. They do really, really well here. They have no problem dealing with the alkalinity. Again, people keep asking for, do I have a site map or a master plan? I have a project that I did for design on this property, primarily for the eastern portion of it, but it covers the whole property. Everything's outlined, plantings, Please remember, whenever you're watching these videos, if you're on YouTube, click on show more and check the show notes. If I mention something, usually there's links to it in the show notes. So there'll be a link to that today. Yet again, a PDF of the whole master plan for the site. And remember, there's a playlist where you can see all the previous videos. And you can just go to duckchronicles.com and it'll redirect you right to that playlist. I got some more news for you guys today, though. That little duck that went broody, and we were saying we weren't sure. Oh, she's broody, all right. There she is. Let me tell you what I mean by she's broody. She's got about 12.5 eggs tucked up underneath her now. We came out today. She's been broody for a day now, solid. So we took pretty much all the eggs we could find, and we lifted her up and stuck them underneath her, and she already had a pile of them. So at this point, what we got to do is make sure that the other ducks aren't cramming too many more eggs into her nest, because then you're going to have uneven incubation periods and what have you. And we may have a little bit of an issue with that right off the bat, because there's probably a Muscovy egg under there too, and the Muscovies need a longer incubation period, so we'll have to sort out what to do about that. If she hatches everybody and leaves the nest while there's still eggs there, what I could do is maybe finish them in the incubator, but I'm really hoping not to do that. We'll see how it works out. But the incubation period on ducks like this bird here is about 28 days, and for Muscovies is 7 days longer. So if there's some Muscovy eggs in that clutch, we might have a little bit of an issue to deal with intermittent hatching. But that's out of Cayuga. That's actually an Indian runner. She's kind of puffed up there on her eggs, but she's got a really narrow keel, so we figure she's got about as many babies underneath, or eggs underneath her, as she can have right now. Anyway, guys, keep the questions coming. We'll keep the episodes coming. And we have a big full day ahead of us today. We got a bunch of plants to prune. We got a conference call to make with our students for the plant propagation course, and hope you guys enjoy your weekend as much as I plan on enjoying mine, and I hope you stay warm.